everyone. How are you doing? It is now day 4 with no food. I feel great today. Yesterday, it was a little unsteady. I had a meeting last night on Zoom, and I literally lost my train of thought about 3 times in the middle of it. But I feel fantastic, and I've lost 13 pounds as of this morning, which that's amazing. So I'm going to finish out the 7 days, and then I'm going to do juice twice a day and then small dinner. I went vegetarian about 6 weeks ago. So I love that. So I'll be incorporating that as well. So yeah, it just takes a little while to get used to it. The taste isn't bad. I mean, obviously the more fruit over vegetables, but you're getting all the nutrients and everything that normally, I mean, you'd have to eat a bushel of apples, so it's like getting a B12 shot instantly. So if it's something you want to try, the recipe is really easy. I gave it in the last video. Take a look. You can find them online. Just look for Mean Green or something. But anyway, it's a great way to detox and reboot and get yourself ready for whatever your next adventure is. So anyway, hope everything else is going well out there. I'm going to stay on for just a little bit. If you have any questions or comments, you can drop them down below. And a lot of people have been commenting about Amy. That's the lady, stage 4 breast cancer. We're meeting weekly, her and I, and I'm coaching with her. And we've done a couple of videos, so we'll get some more of that out there and share her story, because it really is inspirational. And imagine you have 3 children, you're a single mother, and you have something wrong that no doctor can tell you. You're in pain, but nobody can find it. And then it comes out that you have stage 4 breast cancer, and they give you 6 months to live. And I mean, can you imagine the diagnosis there? So anyway, her story is unbelievable. It's really inspiring. So if you haven't seen that video, it should be right down there. You can take a look at it. It's in the featured section. See, I am a little slower mentally right now, just a little. And after this, usually, because I've done this before, on day 5, you start getting sharp. So you're just going through this phase. The first 3 days are always hell on this kind of thing, because your body's like, what is going on? Especially my body. Ever since COVID, I've been in kind of one place. I've toured a little bit here and there, but I haven't done 300 shows a year. So I've gained 40 pounds or something. And somebody asked me the other day, they said something and they said, but you don't understand. And listen, the reason I'm doing this, and the reason I put hours a day into this community, is because I do understand. I mean, for one thing, weight wise, I weighed 350 at one point. I made too much money too young. That was my problem, because I know that you're going to say, oh, poor you. But when you do, and you're, at 21 or something, then everything's party time. I started smoking. I was smoking 2 packs a day, eating like, everything, drinking, getting drunk every night. Then I don't know, maybe within the space of a couple of months, my dad dies. That was the first thing. Then I got diagnosed with cancer, and I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I understand. I mean, when I talk to Amy, I understand. I know what it's like to get that diagnosis. And then you're walking around like in the grocery store, and everyone's normal. And you're thinking, how can these people be acting like nothing's wrong? I mean, I have cancer, right? I get it. I understand that. And then I also had tailbone surgery at that same time. They had to stop chemo because of this surgery. And of course, they gave me tons of Vicodin. And I've told this story before, and I'm not ashamed of it. I had the doctor prescribing me Vicodin like you would not believe. And so I was working on a cruise ship. This was in December, and I had started taking Vicodin in January. So almost a full year, but not quite. And I went to get the prescription filled, and the pharmacist wouldn't fill it. And she said, I can't fill this. It was ridiculous. It was like 6,500 Vicodin since January. I mean, she's like, I can't fill this. So I detoxed myself. I complained, what is it going to take? What do I have to do? One thing I have is mind power. If anybody knows about the mind, when I'm telling you what your mind can do, it's because I've done it. in 5 years, 6 years, I haven't had a cigarette. Gone. Haven't had a drink. Gone. Lost 80 pounds, gained 30, lost 13. Figure that out, math fans. And I want to get down to about 195. That's always been my thing because, I used to stress eat. Now I understand more why we do the things we do, So this lifestyle change, I'm 47. It's time. I'm not a 20. I've been living like I was 21. Like, living that life. And that's what I did when I first started. And I was making all that money and I was, oh, this is fantastic. And I was killing myself. So, and I didn't care about anyone else. I care. I really do, because I know the change it can make. I know how it feels to go to bed anxious and sick and worried and then wake up with the same shit and go into the next day. And there's really even no break in days. It's like just one continuous shitty day because you go to bed thinking about it, you wake up thinking about it, and it consumes you all day long. So the lucky thing for me, I got paid to go around the world. I got paid to work with amazing people. And I also got paid then to learn. And when I first started, I was working as a mentalist. I mean, with mind power. And when I did the retreat at the monastery with the monks, I did a week. And I've told this story before. I told it last night on the meeting I was on. But what do you do? The monk was, what do you do? And I was telling him, I'll always, proud of myself. I am cool. I'm a cool dude, right? I can read your mind. Well, he said, think of a word. So I did. And he said, lumberjack. That was it. He didn't write anything. I didn't write anything down. There was no trickery. Now, as a magician, I grew up as a magician. You're blown away. How is that even possible? I want to do that. Man, I want this trick. Well, it wasn't a trick. And I started to realize we use a very small percentage of our brain. So then I used my career going around the world to study the mind, everything I could, everywhere I went. So that's 20 years ago, 18 years ago. And it's 6 years since I just gave up everything. And the cool thing is when you meditate and you start to get spiritual, again, not religious. Religion is man-made. Spiritual is you. There's no middleman. There's nothing else. It's you. So when you start to get spiritual, things fall away from you. The drinking, the pills, all that shit falls away. But don't ever think I don't know what you're going through. I've made millions of dollars. I had a year where I made $10,000. I understand. And I understand, throwing money away. I understand drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, overeating, just being so tied up in your own ego that you don't give a shit about anybody else. So anyway, look, I'm talking about my life because I haven't had food in 4 days. It does make you more, I've noticed, because the voice in my head, I've got pretty good, especially during the meditations have been deep during this fast. So it's definitely something to try, even if you only do it for a day or two, or if you just do it along with a sensible diet. That's what I'm going to do after this. Like I said, just juice twice and eat dinner. It's a great thing to try, and it's healthy. I mean, it's not a fad diet where you're eating only watermelons between 2:30, and I mean, it's not that. So the only thing is, it's time consuming. I mean, it takes a lot of fruits and vegetables to make the juice. That's for sure. So, I try to make enough ahead that I don't have to do it all the time. But lately I just pretty much, I think once you put in the kale and the cucumber and all that, you can kind of decide the fruit, the apples, the pears, grapes, whatever. I don't think the fruit really matter too much. So anyway, let me just check and see if you have any questions. You do not. That's okay. If anybody has any questions, you can drop them down below. If you want to talk about the juice fast, if you want to talk about anything I just talked about. Because like I said, I understand. And that's why this community is here. We're here for each other. This is like an accountability group. It's kind of like a giant mastermind group because of those you pay to be in. Because it's everyone supporting each other. That's how synergy, that's how it works. Because the power of that, I'll tell you what, I can feel it on the juice fast, because the other day I'm like, I am starving, and I was getting, great messages and posts and things. I got motivated from it. So I'm hoping you're getting the same thing. We work really hard. It's me. I have one of my assistants. We work hard to select all the content for you. And it's not just selected at random. It may not look like it, but there is a method behind all of this madness, because when I'm trying to get something across to you, I may not do it just by, you can't just tell somebody something. Many times you have to let them realize it themselves. You have to let them realize they already knew it. Somewhere inside, they knew that already. So anyway, that's all I got for you. No, now I see a question. Let me check your question. I got to put on my glasses. How do you forgive you? Oh, Gonzalo. Hey, buddy. How do you forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made in the past? You just have to. I mean, you have to forgive yourself and other people, and you have to take ownership. That's all. Here's the thing. If you went and killed someone, right, and they sentence you to 20 years in prison, and then you get out, it's the same kind of situation. How many times do you pay for it? You wouldn't have to go to prison over and over and over again for it. You know, it's like what we do when we get in a fight with our girlfriend, our wife, whatever, or boyfriend. And so we get in an argument with them, and everybody's upset, everybody's mad. And I'm losing my train of thought, Gonzalo. See, this is the problem with not eating any food. Wait, so arguments. Yeah. I don't know what I was trying to say, but I'll go into it a little deeper. Forgiveness is the first step, really. I mean, really, the first thing is awareness. You have to know. So you have to know what it is that you're forgiving yourself for. Awareness brings almost 80% of the healing, because all you've got to do is be aware, because most of what we do is unconscious. So just imagine you're driving the car down the highway, right? What is going on? You're not thinking, okay, I'm now passing marker 14. I'm driving. You're not doing that. In your head, you're thinking about what you have to do later. You're thinking about having an argument with your wife when you get home. You're arguing with her. You're doing her part. You're doing your part. You're actually having an argument inside your head. The guy in front of you is driving slow and you're yelling at him. He has no idea. That's what we do. That's the first thing you can realize. As soon as you're aware, awareness is huge. So you got to be aware of what you're forgiving yourself for, and you just let it go. You can do things like write it down, fold it up, burn it up, get rid of it that way. Even though these sound like like inspiration, motivational speakers kind of tricks, it's not, because your mind, it picks it up differently that way. And plus, when you write it down, it's powerful. You feel it, and try to get some emotion, because the emotion needs to leave. That's why you need to forgive yourself for certain things. It's like we have things that happen to us, and we either like them or we don't. If we like them, we take that feeling, we hold it inside, the first kiss, the first car, whatever, and we want to hold on to it. But we do the same thing with things we don't like, because when something happens we don't like, something we need to forgive ourselves for, and we haven't done it yet, what we do is we take that thing and we hold it inside us with willpower. So you've got, all of us, thousands of things that your life force energy is holding inside you. And you have a little bit of willpower, a little bit of your life force energy with every piece that's holding something in. So when something comes up and you get the feelings again, you just forgive yourself. You let it go. You realize this does not serve me, because really, there is no past. There is no future. The only thing that matters is now, right here, because this is the only entry point into making change. If you live in the past, you're screwed, because you can't change it. And if it's would have, could have, should have, that's a bad place to be. Same token, if you're living in the future, you're worried about what's going to happen, all this and that. That's not real either. The past the past does not exist. It's a former now. The future doesn't exist, because when it gets here, it will be now. That's why everyone delays everything. They always want something that's just off. So, I'll be happy when I get this. I will feel the way I need to feel when I marry this person. It's always somewhere off. You're delaying your happiness, your gratification. So it comes with releasing. And the way that works is, like I said, becoming aware, because you got to be aware of what it is you're releasing. Those things will bubble up, especially if you meditate. Whatever pops into your mind, that's not random. I mean, I have had things 20 years ago pop up in my mind. But they're not random. That's something that needs to be worked on. That's why it's popping up. So, and the cool thing is, it's not like it's got to be worked on where you've got to take it, you've got to look at it, you've got to go through all the turmoil. No, you just have to almost say it. You have to say it out loud. You have to bring it into the light. These things cannot survive when you drag them into the light. They can't take the scrutiny, because this is all shit. A lot of it is stuff we did when we were kids. Whatever. Our subconscious is created in the first 8 years, and then it runs for the rest of our lives. So decisions we made at 8 are controlling our lives today. Because when you go on autopilot, when you go out of the now, which is like 90% of the time for most people, right? You go on autopilot, and what happens? Your subconscious kicks in and the tape starts running inside your head. Well, that rusty old tape is from years and years ago when you were a kid. You weren't logical. You weren't mature. It's not like you didn't make this. You didn't have all the information to make decisions, but yet you're living with those decisions every day, because that's what your subconscious kicks into. So that's what you got to do, is get in there and change that, is first become aware of what it is that you want to change. They'll bubble up. You don't have to go back into your past and go, like I said, let things pop up and then, say them out loud, write it down, crumple up the paper, throw it away. And in your mind, because again, the human mind cannot tell the difference between doing something or thinking about it. So think about the implications of this. Sports psychologists use this all the time. The most famous, biggest athletes in the world all use a form of visualization. They actually run the race, play the game, are in the boxing match in their mind before they do it. And they've studied this at Stanford or Harvard, one of the two, I believe. They did a study where they took 30 kids, 90 kids, 3 groups of 30, and they separated them into 3 classrooms. And every day after class, they would, for an hour, one group of 30 would go out in the basketball court and they would play basketball. The next group of 30 would sit in the room and see themselves in their mind, eyes closed, play, shooting, ball going in, that sort of thing. The third group didn't do anything to do with basketball. So they were just like a study hall. When they came back in a month, they tested them at the beginning, and then their skills, and these weren't athletes, these are just regular students. They tested them again at the end. The first group, who were practicing on the court, and the second group, who were practicing only in their minds, improved about 35%, 37 and 36, I think. Think about that. And of course, the last group nothing. There was no improvement. The most successful people I've ever met, millionaires, billionaires, celebrities, team owners, athletes. I mean, I train sports teams, Cleveland Browns, the Dodgers. Those people understand how the mind works. And they know if you can harness your mind power, you can focus it on where it needs to go in your life, it explodes. Everything happens. But what we're doing as a people, especially nowadays, because this world is crazy, we've got a million things that are pulling our energy. And we have our willpower holding things inside us that are from years and years ago. So that's my answer. You got to become aware, and then one by one, let them go. But awareness is for anything to do with your mind. Awareness is 80%, 90% of the battle. Because as soon as you realize that voice in your head is not you, right? You have a voice in your head. And everybody says, what do you mean? I don't have a voice in my head. Well, if you just said that in your head, that is the voice in your head. Everybody, all of us, we have that voice in our head. I call it the bitchy roommate. That is the voice that tells you you're not good enough. You're never going to do that. You're too fat. You're too ugly. You're not as good as him. And on and on and on. That is not you. That voice is your fault, because it's made up of your conditioned past. That voice is there kind of for safety. In other words, you're walking down the street and you see a man coming towards you, and he looks like the uncle that beat you up when you were a kid. Immediately you fill with fear. You're upset. Oh my God, everything is horrible. But as you get closer, you realize it's not him, and it goes away. So the human mind is incredible, but it depends on your perspective. It depends on where you're putting your energy. We just have too much of our life force spread out. You have only a finite supply. And another thing, people will drain you of that. And we've all met those people that are, I call them energy vampires, but they're the people that walk up to you and they go, how's your day? Oh, great. How's yours? Oh, God. Oh, my God. And then they tell you the long, sad, drawn out saga. The only way to be in a harmonic conversation with that person is you're going to lower your vibration to be with them. And that's dangerous because you're not going to pull them up to you. You're going to have to lower. And that sucks out your energy, your life force energy. If it was gold and you only had a finite amount, you would be very careful where you were putting it. But we don't do that with our energy. And that's everything. That's what matters, our life force energy. And there's only so much. Everything you get back, you work through, that life force energy comes back to you, and then you can direct it. That's the secret. Harnessing, directing. The power is in every one of us. The most powerful computer ever made. I say it all the time, but it's so true. But no manual. You get it? No manual. They give you a manual with the phone, the microwave, everything, but no manual with the most sophisticated supercomputer ever devised. Man can't even think of a way to even get close to building something like that. I mean, the power inside the human mind is incredible. The power to tap into universal consciousness. And when you can do that, I mean, you can get answers to questions. There's no way you could get them yourself. Things come to you, a lot of songwriters, Lionel Richie's big on that. He talks about, it just came to me. It flowed through me. All the lyrics just came out in one setting. That's when you're in the zone. That's when you're connected. And that connection only comes when you can get rid of more and more things that hold you back. You got to let go of what's holding you back and just not even worry about the future. You worry about now, because that is the biggest secret. Because if you're always going, tomorrow is this, and you're always looking forward to something farther away, but not today, then your life is constantly always one step ahead of you. Your happiness is always one step ahead of you. If it's something that you want to create in your life, if it's something you want to manifest in your life, guess what? You just have to imagine that you have that. And it can't be, I want this. It needs to be, I have this. I am this. That creates the vibration that creates the feeling. And the feeling is everything, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day. And the thing about those thoughts, most of them are negative, okay? But any thought that has emotion attached to it is about 10,000 times stronger. It's just massive. But again, most of the things we have our emotions tied to, negative things. So that's the negative emotion. That's the negative vibration we're constantly putting out. What kind of life are you going to get when you're negative all the time? What kind of life are you going to, when, that's exactly what you're going to get when you do that. So you have to just start realizing that your mind is an amazing machine. It's an amazing supercomputer. It's there for you, and you have to take advantage of it, because your mind right now is running your life. Your mind is the boss. Your mind tells, people know, not one person who has ever committed suicide ever did it without their voice telling them to do it. Absolutely had to, right? That voice in the head literally had to tell them to kill themselves. Got it so bad. I can't take anymore. That is the voice in the head. And if you leave it unchecked, that's the kind of stuff it does. Because, man, it will, and the mind is so crazy the way it is nowadays that your mind will even take both sides of the same argument, right? So say your girlfriend is coming over and she's late. She's supposed to be here at 8 o'clock and she's late. And so you start getting upset and you're, oh my God, this relationship wasn't working anyway. I don't know what the F I'm doing with this girl. And you're going on and on and on and on, right? 8:30, she shows up with a gift for you and a bunch of stuff. And oh, hey, it's our anniversary. And I just thought, right? And now immediately everything changes. But in your head, you're it's over. I don't know why I'm in this. Oh my God, she's the most amazing thing ever. I'm so lucky. Your mind took both sides of the same story. That's what it does. Your mind is not the judge. It's not the future. It's not predicting anything. That's why you can change it, because you created it. This isn't a voice from outer space that's talking inside your head for most of us. This is a creation, a man-made thing. When we're tiny kids, everything is amazing. That's why life is magical when you're a kid. You don't have all that yet. You're building it over your life experience. So you don't have all that crap going on in your head. You don't have all those fears and all that shame that comes later and builds and builds and builds. It's like an episode of Hoarders up there in our heads. We're just throwing all the garbage in there. So understanding that the mind is a machine, it can be controlled, and you want it is a great servant. It's a horrible master, because when your mind gets control, you are in trouble, because your mind is going to do everything it can. And I'll tell you, if you start to meditate, which if you don't, you should, because it really changed everything for me. And when I started meditating, it changed everything. But what was I going to say? See, I've lost my train of thought again. When I was meditating, what I was going to say. Anyway, see, this is mind power expert who cannot keep his mind going. Let's see, meditate. What was I talking about? Meditation, doing meditation. Why I do meditation. I don't know. I do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening of TM, transcendental meditation. And then I do 15 and 15 of just, regular watch your breath meditation. So that's important. If you don't meditate, you should, because that gives you the connection. That gives you the starting point for everything. So if you want any tips on meditation, just drop me a message down there. We've got tons of videos on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure if we've uploaded anything lately, but if you go to youtube.com/Brent Webb Official, there's tons of videos, 400 videos, something like that. But there's a lot on meditation. So if you've never meditated and you want to know how, I just got my train of thought back. I know what I was going to say, and I'm going to lose it. Your mind will tell you during meditation, right? It will start telling you stuff, and you don't have to listen to that. I mean, it's going to start to say, my leg's sore. God, my back hurts. I wonder what I'm going to have for lunch. And your mind does not want to be trained. Trust me, your mind is going to do everything it can. Oh my God, why are we doing this? This is ridiculous. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, look, that chubby bald guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And so your mind will do that because it doesn't want to be the servant, which it needs to be. It needs to work for you, not work. Imagine your mind working against you. That's what it does for most of us. You want it working with you. So that's what I was trying to get to there. At least I got that back. When those thoughts pop in your head, you don't have to listen. And you don't want to move. The whole thing about meditation is you're still. So you don't want to scratch your nose. That breaks it, right? Because you're going to go deep, 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 deep. So I can promise you, when I started, I couldn't sit still for 30 seconds. I swear. If anybody out there knew me as a younger person, I don't even know if I may have had ADHD. I was never diagnosed, but I mean, I was just so, everything was hyper, hyper, hyper. And so if you knew me back then, you would know how difficult that would be. But it just comes from repetition. This is one of those things. It's so great. I'm not telling you go out, run a marathon. You have to do this. You have to go to Africa. You have to sit in a mountaintop, and pray. No, you don't have to do any of that. You can do it now. You can do it. You can do it here. Don't listen to the voice, because it's going to tell you crap. The voice, what you want to use that for is if you're going to go into the past, you're going back there for a reason, for not something that you need in the present, right? You're gonna it's like going through a file cabinet. You go back, okay, let's see about that. But you don't want to live there. You don't want to stay there. You don't want to be going down the river of life in a canoe with a fishing pole that's backwards, right? You're trying to, it's no good. And most people, tell you the truth, imagine in a canoe, right? In the river of life, and you're going down the river. All you got to do is lay there, in an inner tube, let's say an inner tube, and the river's moving you along. It's amazing. It's peaceful, everything, right? But most people won't do that. Most people are paddling in the wrong direction when all they have to do is drop the paddle in the water, lay back, and let the inner tube take you. Let the river take you. We literally fight against the stream and try to swim the other direction. Buddha said that the reason all suffering is preference. I'm paraphrasing, but I was talking to my mom about this yesterday, and it's true. When you decide you want that something has to be a certain way, you're in big trouble. I'm going on a picnic Saturday, so it's got to be nice weather. Can't rain on Saturday. What happens if it rains Saturday morning? Oh my God, your whole day's ruined, right? When you have preference for something, I want it this way, I don't want it that way. Then what happens is you want this thing, right? So you're always obsessed with that, but also you do not want this to happen. Okay. And that becomes obsessive. So all this crap's going on in your head by releasing preference. The moment in front of you is here. Don't fight it. And Michael Singer always says it took 13 billion years to get here. Everyone thinks the moment in front of them has everything to do with them. If you were yanked out of that moment, never to be seen again, and you looked at the totality of the universe, nobody would even know you're gone. So, but we think, because, it's us, we're in here, we're watching this, it's our life. We think that it's about us, but it's not. And when you realize that all these millions, billions of things had to happen for us to be here right now, this had to go to that, had to go to that. And then my mom had to meet my dad. Just think about it. Everything that had to happen to get you here. This moment isn't you. You have nothing to do with it. You're just enjoying it. And I'll tell you one more thing. One thing I use all the time, and this is a great mind hack, is I like to visualize outer space and the Earth from outer space. And then I just think to myself, I am on a planet in the middle of the galaxy, endless nothing or everything, spinning, billions of people. I'm here for a blip, right? So why do I give a crap what anybody else thinks? Why do I care? None of that matters. When you figure on the grand scheme of things, I know people say that a lot. It's true, though. You got to get above all that petty crap that we do. And that's a good way to do it. So anyway, check out my YouTube channel. You know all the stuff. If you're in the group, we love you. We appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. Post, comment, like. The engagement is what matters. I'm actually meeting next week because we got selected for the Facebook Power Administrator group. So I'm in that, which is cool because you get some upcoming things that aren't released to the public yet. So we're going to have some cool stuff coming soon. I have a meeting with them next week, a Zoom meeting. So that's exciting. But we love you in the group, but post, share, comment. That's why those things are here. They're not just for you. If I can help you, that's great. But let's make this a bigger galaxy of help. Let's pass this forward to other people. There are so many people. Share them on your timeline. Share them with your friends and family. And above all, invite people to join us here. It's important. We're not in a group talking about our favorite movie or talking about the 80s or whatever. Those groups are great. I'm not knocking them, but that's not what this group is for. So there's really no fluff here. Everything is selected for you. Anything you post, everybody's been posting fantastic stuff. They know the rules. We are very good about spam and fake people and all of that. We are getting really good about allowing anyone in. And by the way, if you ever see anything or somebody contacts you by messenger and tries to sell you something, contact me personally. Send me a personal message, not the group, me. And we'll make sure we take care of it, because that's not what this group's about. So we don't allow that here. We don't allow our members to be harassed by other people. And this group is for people that want to change and they want to transform. They want a new lease on their life. It's never too late to make that change. I don't care how old you are. One of my clients, Bonnie, late 60s, and she said, I didn't know if it would be worth it because I didn't, I'm at the end of my career, but it's one of the best things I've ever done. Age doesn't matter. It really doesn't. That's why most people retire and die pretty shortly, because there's nothing else. There's nothing, their will is just kind of, you have to have something. You have to have something that you're creating, that you're manifesting, that you're working on. You always have to have, I'm looking at my dream board, which if you don't have one, it's a board that you put on all the pictures of the things. And I keep the things I've brought into my life there as well. So that also motivates me. But every time you look at something like that, it gives you that rush of energy, that rush of feeling. That's what you want. So those kind of things, oh, it's so foo-foo. It's important. These kind of things are super important. So making a vision board, very easy to do. But it's little things like that you do all day long that are going to make the difference, because you're going to start tipping the scale from negative feelings overriding you all day to positivity, positivity, positivity. And it's going to tip the scale. So anyway, questions or comments, you can drop them down below. I'm going to go have some juice and I have 2 more days. So I'll try to jump back on in a day or two. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll talk soon.